mitochondrial review. So many of you in this series on mitochondria have asked for me to slow it down, give a little more context, and that's what this review is all about. So let's get started. So mitochondria, just like we learned in middle school biology, our mitochondria are those organelles inside almost every single cell in our body. Our mitochondria are that jelly bean shaped organelle that has an outer membrane and a twisted inner membrane, a cisterate. Now, this jelly bean shape is what, again, we learned in school, but we now know that our mitochondria are very dynamic. They are constantly changing shape according to the signals that are coming in from our environment. And I've covered these in the last few videos, all the different environmental signals that impact our mitochondria. And it makes our mitochondria stretch out, they fuse, they separate, they come together and combine. They create chains to share electrons, not only from mitochondria to mitochondria within a cell, but from organelle to organelle within that cell. They can actually leave the cell and share electrons, energy, electricity with other cells that need that voltage, because what we know and we keep coming back to is that our mitochondrial function and its voltage is so foundational for our health. When we see a dip in that voltage, we see an increase in symptoms and disease states ensue. Now, Douglas Wallace is sort of the premier researcher that has brought this to light, and this is clearly what his research has shown. When there's a dip in mitochondrial voltage, then our health suffers, and that makes tending to our mitochondrial health so very important. So when we're talking about the mitochondria, that twisted inner membrane has the electron transport chain, and this is made up of 5 different protein complexes, complex 1 through 4, and the 5th protein complex is a spinning ATP synthase motor. It spins and creates infrared energy as it pulls a proton down through it to create that final ATP, that energy currency of the body. Now, we have learned that this happens in a straight line, like a chain. That's because it happens in consecutive order from complex 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, and then ATP is created. But it is not linear in its dimensions. When we're actually looking at what's happening in the mitochondria, the electron transport chain is circular. It creates super complexes where these protein complexes are coming close together, so those electrons can tunnel from complex to complex more efficiently. When those complexes become further spaced away, not only are those electron transport chains further apart, but that space between them is making it harder for those electrons to tunnel, and we're not making ATP. And at that point, we see that mitochondrial charge dive, take a dip, and that's where our health suffers. So, like we've talked about in the last few videos, our mitochondria are kind of like antennas. They are sensitive to the environment around them. They are sensitive to our light environment, to our sound environment. They are sensitive to our emotional states and our mental health. They are sensitive to the electrical conduction within a cell, as well as acting as a messenger. The reactive oxidative species that they create serve as messengers throughout the body. Now, most of us have heard of ROSs, or reactive oxidative species, as something bad and damaging, and they are. If we get too much of those ROSs in our body, they can create oxidative damage and cellular damage, and that's not good. But at physiological states, they serve as a communication network, letting our body know when to start a biological process and when to end it. Without those reactive oxidative species, our body wouldn't have the same communication. It wouldn't act in concert as efficiently. So our mitochondria are not only acting as receivers of information, but they're also acting as messengers, right? They're sort of conducting this beautiful communication network throughout the body, coordinating the symphony that is our health. So I hope this helps. Please let me know if you have any questions down below. And if you like this information, make sure to subscribe, like, and leave me a comment down below. Thank you so much.